Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Mike from Mass here, Mass Aquariums, and this is going to be another species special. And I'm going to extend my species special from fish to plants. You know, I know a lot of people do a lot of species specials, or I know the Rick does freshwater profiles and Dustin does species someday, but I'm going to continue mine, species special, and we're going to do it on a plant this time. And since you all know I love my planted tanks, I'm going to start doing some specials on plants. So tonight's special is going to be on the Amazon sword plant. Now, I don't have any pictures because my computer ran out of ink. So, modern day iPad. I hope you can see that. If not, this is a beautiful Amazon sword plant, which I've had since the beginning. This plant is almost a year old, I would say, and as you can tell, it's absolutely doing unbelievable. It produces new leaflets straight from the middle just about every, I would say every 4 to 7 days, and if I trim these outside leaves, they just shoot out like crazy. But, Latin name, Echinodorus amazonicus. Sounds about right. And these plants can grow up a maximum to 14 to 20 inches, and the leaves are very strong and fairly broad, which make up the main part of the Amazon sword plant. Their height and shape makes them ideal for background and mid-ground decorations. They often will grow above the surface, and this makes them very popular for low surface aquariums. But most of us in the hobby have our Amazon swords completely submerged at the bottom of our tank. Now, this, I did do some research, and this is actually a bog plant, which usually grows above the surface, but I'm sure they've been overbred in the aquarium hobby to be completely submerged in the water. They're relatively easy to keep, which I do agree with. I recommend them for all low-tech tanks. What else we got here? Temperature, 75 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Normal temp for everybody's tank. Lighting, I do not agree with this. Lighting says bright, 50 watts for 25 gallons. So that's 2 watts per gallon, which I do not have on this tank. I have a 17 watt bulb on a 30, so I almost have roughly a half a watt per gallon. And I have this Amazon sword here that absolutely grows beautiful. I have this pygmy sword that produces has produced 5 runners in about 2 or 3 months. And it's going to be slow on low light. If you had high light, CO2, I'm sure you're going to produce a lot more runners. But this plant does propagate through runners. Now, I've seen a lot of videos, and I've watched a lot of videos and seen people's Amazon swords just almost be floating in the tank with their runners. Runner after runner after runner. This plant has never produced a runner. This pygmy sword has produced 5 runners, and I have a bunch of pygmy sword plants growing here. So, maybe this is a specific type of sword that does not produce a runner, but from all my research, they're all supposed to propagate through runners, which I've never seen this happen, and this has been a year, so I don't think it's going to happen. What else we got here? And location, all over the Amazon, Brazil, all over South America, all the way up into Central America, and that's all I got for you on that. So, my experience with Amazon swords. Super easy plant. One of my favorite plants. I think everybody should have an Amazon sword. They just are absolutely beautiful broadleaf plant. Very green. You don't get a lot of algae on them. If you do get any type of little brown algae, which I've never had on this, I've had a little bit of brown algae lately in my 75 on my red melon sword, which is a different type, but just as beautiful. You can just brush it off with your fingers. It comes right off, but I've had no problems with this Amazon sword. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful plant. It's beautiful green. You can put it. I have it in the foreground in the right side of my tank because that's where it ended up, and it ended up looking really good and filling up some space. But you can put it in the midground, in the background. I like it in the mid or the front ground, which just really makes your tank pop. It really, really looks good. And you can trim it all you want. The best way to get this plant to grow like crazy is just when you have really long leaves on the outside of the plant, you just clip those leaves, and in the middle, new leaflets will just keep on coming. Now, this sword just, boom, keeps on producing leaflet after leaflet after leaflet. I haven't even trimmed it in probably 2 or 3 months just because I really love the way it looks. I'm sure if I wanted to get it to produce even more leaves, I would just keep on trimming it. Now these 2 Amazon swords, this basic Amazon sword and my pygmy Amazon sword, I do in my low-tech tank with no ferts, well, a little bit of ferts. I use API leaf zone a little bit, maybe after every other water change, but no root tabs next to these plants, and very low light. I just do my water changes, and I got my temp right around 80, fluctuates 79 to 81 degrees, roughly around there, and these plants do great. Really, really nice plant, great beginner plant, and if you don't have an Amazon sword, you got to get an Amazon sword. Get them from Planted Aquarium Central. I love those guys. This is where I got this one. It came in this beautiful, and it stayed this beautiful. And anyone looking for Amazon swords, you can get them at your local fish store a lot of the time. Even PetSmart sometimes have them in those little tubes. Just stay away from those. They're going to die. How can you buy a plant that's been sitting out of water in a little plastic tube for who knows how many days? Don't buy those. Just go to your local fish store if they have a few, or order them online. You might pay, $6, $7, $8 in shipping, but it's going to be worth it when they get in your tank. So, that's it. I'm a little excited tonight, anxious. Patriots training camp starts tomorrow. Yes, sir. And I just did a huge water change on this tank before I did this video. My frog bit is doing awesome. As you can see, all my plants are doing great. And comment, subscribe, send me a comment if you want me to do a video for my next species special on any type of plant. And that's all I got for ya. This is Mike from Mass.